Welcome back F11 members to part 2 of the post-production videos for issue 96 January 2020. So in the first part we worked on an image making 3 different conversions of the same shot, which you see on the screen in front of us. One optimized for the darker areas of the picture, a mid-tone version, and then one optimized for the bright sky. And now it's going to be my job to merge them together. I'm going to do that manually here in Photoshop. The reason I do it manually is because I think it gives a more natural look to a picture. So let's have a go. And first thing I'm going to do then is take the medium version of the image here, and I'm going to bring in my actions palette. And can you see I've got one called an actions called select, cut and close, so I'll just play that. And now if I highlight this image here and I come to paste there, I paste the other on top of it, and now I'm going to do the same with the darker layer here. I'm going to play that, select, cut and close. And now I'm going to come along and paste it on top of the other. And now I bring in my layers palette, and can you see here I have just come up on the size of the image a touch. By the way, you just hold down the command button on your keyboard and plus to increase the size of the picture. Okay, so now I've got the 3 layers. There. Layer 2 is the darkest layer. Click the eye off to be able to see it or not, or hide it. Underneath I have the medium layer, and on the bottom I have the brightest layer. So what I'm going to do now is just hide the top layer. Let's just forget about that for the moment. I'm going to take my actions palette out for the moment. I'll give us a clean screen to work with. Bring in my tools here. Okay, so what I want to do now is use a layer mask to be able to see the bit of the bright image underneath that I want to. And so the way I do that is basically use my lasso tool here to select the area of the picture, which is the cliffs and the foreground of the beach. Okay, I've selected that. I'm using my graphics tablet as usual, so making selections is much easier using that. And now what I'm going to do is invert that selection. If I go up to select and inverse. So I've selected the brighter part of the image, that I want to be able to see, and the area that's excluded is the layer underneath, which is for the foreground. So now I'm going to make a mask, and again I'm going to use one of my actions here. I'm going to make a mask with a feather radius of about, what do I want? Something about, I would say, 300 pixels. So I've got a soft edge to my mask there. If I play that now, and nothing's happened because I had the wrong layer selected here, and it's put the layer on the top mask there. So bring in my history tab, go back to select inverse, and now make sure I've got the right layer selected. This sort of thing can drive you crazy working with layers, quite frankly. Now I'm going to play that action to make a layer mask. Play that. And can you see now that's made a really nice merge. I've got that lovely tones of the waves breaking on the foreground, but I've kept the tones in the mid-tones in the water there. And what's more, you can't see a join. It's a nice soft merge. So that's worked well. Next, I want to look at my sky. So if I click that layer on so I can see it again now, I'm going to do the same thing. Just move my actions palette out for a second. And now I'm going to use the lasso tool to select the area of the picture, which is basically the sky, including the arch, that I want to be able to, the area of this image that I want to be able to see, which is just the sky. I'm not attempting to mask off the arch because I think that would just look really unnatural. The detail that's there, that I can just see in the shadows there, is about right and it looks natural. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my actions palette again, and I've got an actions here called Mask 500, and I want to make a really basically a soft edge to this mask, a very soft transition. So that's 500 is 500 pixels. So let's play that. And again, I can't because I've got the wrong layer selected. Okay, so stop that, go back in my history. I keep doing this actually, go back to lasso in my history there. Now make sure I've got the right layer mask selected here in the layers palette, and now again play this action here, mask 500. Now there you go, that's done a pretty good job of merging, isn't it? I'm very happy with how this picture is coming together. Anything that needs doing to it, I think really there's just a suggestion of a halo appearing along the top of the cliffs here. Now I know I could start trying to paint that in to make it look, to take that out, but in my experience it's very, very difficult to do that without messing things up. So I'm going to adopt a different technique here. I'm going to select the top layer. I'm going to use the lasso tool here. And basically just select an area coming across here to just select the sort of brightest part of that. And now what I want to do is basically feather that with a really soft selection here. Again, I'm going to go 500, in fact I'm going to go 800 pixel radius. So that's giving me a really soft, that's not what I want to do. Again, stop that, so come back on the mask there, come back on my history to lasso. Now I don't want to make a mask, I just want to feather that selection. So come up here, I've got actions made for doing that. I'm going to do a 500 pixel edge to that, play that. And now I'm going to come up to here, image adjustments, curves, bring that curves tab in here. Okay, and now I'm just going to pull down the curves here, and that's just going to darken down that area of the image, the top left corner, okay? Just a touch there. Now that's put a bit of impact into the image. What's more, I can't see any visible kind of line where the adjustment's made because of the softness of the gradation there, the softness of the feathering. Now if I go to select and inverse, and again image adjustments, curves, and now what I want to do, I want to brighten this part of the image here that's selected. Bear in mind I'm only working on this top layer, and now if I brighten that a touch, if I can bring the whites in actually, which has that effect of brightening it, it also starts to hide that halo effect that was just creeping in on that corner of the image there. So if I preview that on and off, that's made quite a difference, probably too much actually. Just come back a touch on my tone curve there, preview that on and off, and I think that's worked well. What's more, it looks natural. So select, deselect. I'm just going to now fine tune my background layer there, and again just come down to image adjustments, curves, and what I'm doing here is just making adjustments to the basically to the tone curve of selective areas of the picture. And here I'm just gonna put in a bit of brightness on, just brighten up the beach a touch and put a touch of contrast in there using the tone curve. Preview it on and off. I think that's given it a bit of life, maybe a little bit too much on the highlights there. Pull them back a touch. Okay. How's it looking? I think it's pretty good, don't you? I think with all this, it's too easy to go too far. I think what I'm going to do now is I've worked on the individual layers. I've merged them together quite nicely. I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to come up here to Layer, and I'm going to flatten the image. And now I'm just going to select just this area of the water, the brightest area of the water here. Again, I don't need to be too precise because I'm going to make a really soft, quite a soft feather 150 edge to that. And now again, image adjustments, curves, and I'm just going to pull back the blacks on that area of the picture a touch and on the whites. And what I've done here is put a bit of contrast into that area of the water. It's a minimal thing, but it has an effect. Click on OK and step back and look at the picture. Just deselect. All in all, I'm quite pleased. There's no horrible halos. There's quite a nice job of merging. I think it's just incredible what we can pull out of what seem like blown highlights and black shadows. Again, no filter used, just working on the dynamic range of the camera's raw file to bring out all the information that was there. Okay, that was quite a tricky one to process this month, but a useful exercise, and I hope that was of interest to you. And please, as always, do send in your comments, and I'd love to hear from you about what you would like to see in future editions of the F11 Photography magazine. Thank you.